Hey there, thank you so much for taking the time to click the link and spend a few minutes getting to know us. We are Dexcom. We are an associate partner of the RRFA. And just to start off by telling you a little bit more about us, Dexcom Answering Service, we are out of Karen Crow, Louisiana. We're a 24/7 live agent answering service. Our mission, our purpose, our reason for existence is providing compassionate professional concern to communications. That's communications with our customers and you guys, our callers, and your customers, as well as our coworkers and community. I'm Jed Antoon. I'm the head of our sales and marketing team here. Been with the company since June of 2016, and very excited to get to know you guys. I'll pass it over to my colleague, Carl.
Hi, Jed. Thanks a lot. My name's Carl Schott, and I've been with Dexcom since 2005. I started the day before Mardi Gras, which is always a hard time to start a job in South Louisiana, but it was worth it. So I'm real happy to be here and helping RRFA members. My responsibilities have been many here while I've been here. Right now, what I'm responsible for is making sure that our customers are taken good care of. Specifically with RRFA, I'm responsible for our customer relationships there, and hope to be involved in getting to know you guys a little bit better as you start to explore a partnership with us.
Absolutely. So what we wanted to do is explain a few different scenarios and in the hopes that it better, you guys can better understand what we do and why we do it. So why would you need Dexcom? Why would you need an answering service? You may have heard phrases around the office or even from fellow businesses, we're missing all of our phone calls. My employees are burnt out, mainly from having the responsibility of having to answer all of these phone calls. How do I keep up with my growth, or how do I even accelerate growth? If you're hearing any of these things, or if you're the one saying any of these things, we feel like we are the solution for you, and we'd like to get into a little bit of how we can help. To start off with the first picture to paint, someone who's never used a service before. If that may be you, you're most likely trying to handle your inbound call traffic through dedicating your own employees to the phone lines, right? You have someone who you've given the responsibility, most likely on top of other responsibilities of when the phone rings, you answer it, because you're probably putting a lot of resources and time into generating phone calls, into making that phone ring, right? Marketing leads, returning customers coming back for additional services. You need to answer that. You need to capture that in order to help grow your business. And so it is a priority at the company. Now, when you are that employee that has that responsibility, it is very difficult to juggle that responsibility with the others that are most likely put on your plate. And that's why you can become constantly distracted. If it never ceases to fail that as soon as you get focused and get into a mode, that phone will ring and take you right back out of it. In the same light, as soon as someone walks through your door and you want that front desk receptionist to be, attentive and hospitable to that customer walking in the door, that phone rings. What do? Right? They're torn. May you hold on 1 second. I need to answer this call, and or let the call go to voicemail, and you're treating that customer potentially with poor customer service while you pay attention to this one. It's a tough juggling act to ask. In that same light of limited capacity, there's typically only one, maybe two folks dedicated to answering the phone calls. If more than one or two phone calls come in at the same time, those are missed phone calls. Those phone calls are maybe going to voicemail, and maybe someone's leaving a voicemail, but most likely it's resulting in a lot of phone tag, a lot of follow-up work that needs to be done to get them back on the line. Worst case scenario, they've already called someone else to take care of their problems. And last, limited flexibility. When you're tied to the phone, you are somewhat physically tied to that desk. If you want to get up to go to lunch, get up to use the restroom, go to an all-employee meeting, or even just walk into someone else's office to ask if they need help, you need to make sure that phone is covered. So as the individual who is responsible for the phones, you have limited flexibility because you have a priority that exists solely on your desk and being that main business line. For after hours, it's a lot of the same issues in terms of distraction, capacity, flexibility, but it has a different impact. or at least in a different way, right? If you're the technician who's on call and your office has decided that since you're on call, you might as well answer the phones as well. Um, you are unable to complete in an efficient manner the job at hand, right? You're going to be out at a customer's residential home or a commercial customer's business. And if that customer is there and you're face to face with that customer and the phone rings with a new opportunity, you know the boss wants that phone answered, but you also know that you owe it to the customer who you're currently serving to give them your full time and attention. That's a serious, that's a serious issue. That's a very difficult juggling act, and you can't blame the technician for having to make that phone call back, or even have to ask the customer for a little bit of time to pick it up. Um, and outside of the professional world, we really appreciate the value that a service can bring on a personal level. And that's that work-life balance. When you clock out for the day, you deserve that time off, right? You deserve to go be with your family, be with your friends, relax, rest, regroup to be your best the next business day. And that's where the burnout comes in when you're tasking your employees, albeit your employees are most likely the best people to answer the phone. If they don't have that time to regroup, they're going to burn out. They're going to become less productive, and that's just an issue that you don't want to have on your hands, and that's not something you want to do to your employees. So I'll pass it to Carl for our second scenario.
Yeah, thanks, Jed. I'm going to talk to some of you guys who have answering service already. So if you've got an answering service who you're working with, or a call center, and you're not sure how they're doing, what I'd ask you to just consider a few scenarios and think about how they make you feel, and if you've heard some of these things, then maybe it's time to start thinking about looking for them to fix them, or talking to a new provider who might be able to find you a solution for them. The most common things that we hear from customers who come looking for us who use service providers are pretty simple, and everybody who's used an answering service has heard them before: unprofessional staff, poor service levels, and as a result, lost jobs. We hear about unprofessional staff constantly. Either people not sounding, they don't sound professional on the phone. Maybe they're rude. Worse than unprofessional, maybe they're rude or discourteous. Maybe they are not happy to take a call for you after hours, or during hours, whenever you might be sending them one. Anything that might give a customer a bad impression of your business can really have ramifications that go well beyond just that individual customer, whether it be from lack of return business or from a bad reputation in the marketplace. Any of that can happen when you have poor staff members who are answering the phone after hours. Maybe they don't handle the calls the way you've told them to. This is something else that we hear a lot. Do you find that you got one person on call and calls are being sent to someone else, or calls that you want to hold for the next morning are being sent to someone, and then the ones that you need to go to your on-call person or holding for the next morning? Again, the result being poor efficiency for your staff, more burnout that Jed mentioned earlier, for handling things that don't need to be worked on, and then again, the potential for lost revenue and lost jobs because things weren't handled the way you want to. And those are things that we hear about constantly. People can't seem to do the right thing that we ask them to, or their staff aren't professional. Maybe you get bad information from your call center provider. This is something that is regular. I can't call my customer back because I've got the wrong phone number, or I sent a technician to the wrong address because they put the wrong address in, and all of those costs are high on you. And if those are things that you're hearing from your current provider, it probably is worthwhile to talk to them, and if they can't fix it, to look at somebody else who can help you. Besides the problems that we hear about, like the calls themselves and how the calls are handled, we'll also hear from customers who are looking for more from a vendor than answering the phone. And what they're looking for is partnership, and they frequently have trouble finding that in an answering service relationship. Some of the things that we'll hear from customers about is how hard it is to get in touch with someone to either fix a problem or just to make a basic change. Everything takes days to get resolved or to get changed or updated. lack of transparency in their billing and it's hard to read the bill. Maybe you'd like to upgrade the integration that you have, and a provider refuses to integrate with a CRM or be flexible to changes in your needs. Or maybe they just, the people that answer the phone just never can seem to answer your questions and can't ever find somebody who can answer your questions. Those are fairly common concerns that we hear from our customers about their vendor relationships. So, if you're experiencing either the problems with those calls or the problems with your vendors like that, at Dexcom, we're confident that we've got a solution for you. If those sounds like, or the ideas that Jed mentioned earlier, if you've heard anything like that, burnout employees, inability to manage all of the calls that you're getting with your growing business, or just trying to streamline things and make things more efficient for you, Dexcom has a solution for you, and we'd like to hear more about what your issues are so that we can help you find a way to get them fixed. We've been an RRFA endorsed associate partner now since the March or so of 2020. That was during the pandemic, right when it started. And so we haven't had a chance to really get to know a lot of RRFA members yet, but we are committed in 2021 to learning more about you guys and to introducing ourselves and to hearing from you. We've won plenty of industry association awards. I can't count them. And most recently in 2020, we won the CAMX top 10 in the top 10 of over 100 answering services and call centers competing for the same award in a secret shopper program. We've got 65 years of industry experience and have been continuously owner operated since 1989. And if that sounds a little bit like something that you'd be interested in knowing more about, Jed can talk to you a little bit more about us.
Absolutely, Carl. Thank you so much. And just to give you guys a feel for what you'll experience when you guys do give us a call, number one, I guarantee you'll be speaking to either Carl or myself, and you're going to receive hopefully what you're seeing as this friendly, outgoing, relatively informal, consultative sales approach, right? We want to understand what you're going through. We want to listen to what your needs are, what your experience has been, and where you hope to bring it. We're going to be hands-on, not just from that first call, but ongoing through the onboarding process. And as Carl mentioned, into the actual account management, month-to-month agreement, minute-based billing. We can get into more and more of that as you guys reach out. But just a couple other points we want to touch on is our Service Titan integration being one of our larger differentiators. If you have Service Titan as a scheduling software, please reach out. We'd definitely like to talk to you about that feature, that solution. And as all RRFA members will receive, being that we are an associate partner, up to 15% off of our services. And we're very honored and happy to be able to offer you guys that. So not to take any more of your time, thank you guys so much for it. Carl and Jed here at Dexcom, we appreciate it.
Thank you.